Hello, everybody. Mike from Southern California again. And on this episode of Voices Big and Small, we're going to be taking a look at the voice career of Bryce Papenbrook. One of the more unique aspects, of course, of Bryce is that he's a second generation voice actor. Both his parents, Bob Papenbrook and Debbie Rothstein, are also voice actors. So, without no further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at Bryce. Get a little introduction into who he is, and then we'll go from there. So, Bryce Austin Papenbrook, born February 24th, 1986, which would, of course, make him 34 years old, is an American voice actor who has done voice work for Viz Media, Animes, Bang Zoom Entertainment, Funimation, Studiopolis, and Scoffer Studios. He has voiced in several anime series, particularly those of young male protagonists. Um, on his early life and education, Bryce Papenbrook was born in West Hills, California. He is the son of Debbie Rothstein and Bob Papenbrook, the aforementioned voice actors. He graduated from UCLA in 2007 with a bachelor's in political science. On the career front, of course, Papenbrook, Bryce is best known for his portrayals of Kirito in Sword Art Online, Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan, Rin Okumura in Blue Exorcist, Gallows in Dagon, Troll World Chronicles. Should have done this sooner. Let's see. Aside from that, of course, Masaomi Kida in the Durara series, Cesar Antonio Zappelli in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Shuro Emiya in Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, Meliodas and Zeldris in The Seven Deadly Sins, Red in Pokemon Origins, Kaito in Demi-Human, and Makoto Naegi and Nagito Komaneda in Danganronpa series. In animation, he provides the voice of Adrian Agrestra Cat Noir in Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. In terms of his personal life, Papenbrook has trained in the martial arts for over 16 years and holds a fourth degree black belt. He began training in the Chuck Norris system of Tang Soo Do, also known as American Tang Soo Do, under his original instructor, Steve Clark. Later, he would train and receive his fourth degree black belt in system in the system under Clark's instructor, former Chuck Norris black belt Dennis Ichikawa. Papenbrook would go on to become a three-time kickboxing champion with over 60 fights to his credit. So he's not only a voice actor, but he's a kickboxer too. Um, he has been a kickboxing instructor at the House of Champions Academy of Martial Arts in Van Nuys, California. So if any of you want to get into Tang Song Do, maybe Bryce will take you on as a student. He is married to Samantha Papenbrook. They have a daughter named Ella Papenbrook, born on September 5th, 2015. So with all that out of the way, let's take a look at the roles that Bryce has been involved with over the years. So one of his first roles came in 2000 as he was cast to be the English voice of a young Vash and Stampede um, in Trigun. Interesting little tidbit, obviously he does the young version of Vash. Johnny Young Bosch does the adult Vash. Bryce and Johnny right now are probably considered two of the more well-known voice actors in the industry right now. So that's an interesting tidbit how they both. Anyways, then we move on to 2003 in the anime Great Teacher Onizuka, in which he provides the English voice for Kunio Mirai. Then in 2004, he provides the voice of the English voice of Shugo in Dot Hack Legend of the Twilight. Um, then, as we move ahead to 2005, in the movie The Toy Warrior, he is the voice of Jason. Also in 2005, in the Dynasty Warriors 5 video game, he provides the voice of Guan Ping. And then in the Radiata Stories video game, provides the voice of Jack Russell. Then in the anime Knowing, in 2006, he is cast as the English voice of Isami Fujiwara in the anime Knowing To Your Other Self. And then in 2007, he was cast as the English voice of Jack and Mare. In the Warriors Orochi video game, he reprised his role as Guan Ping, Warriors Orochi, from Dynasty Warriors 5. Then he would also reprise his role again as Guan Ping in Dynasty Warriors 6 in 2008. Also in 2008, he would be cast as the voice of Shusui Hayasaka, English voice of that in Busho Renkin. He would then, in 2008, reprise his role as Guan Ping again, this time in Warriors Orochi 2. Also in 2008, he would provide the voice of Dorne Murto in the video game Star Ocean First Departure. Then, also in 2008, in Code Geass La Luche of the Rebellion R2, provide the English voice of Edgar and Dalton. Then in 2009, he would be cast the English voice of Iko Sadonaka in All My Buddha. He would then reprise his role as Guan Ping once again in Dynasty Warriors Strike Force. He would then reprise his role as Iko Sadonaka in Amai Buddha Katsu. Then in Dissidia Final Fantasy, he would provide the voice of Zidane Tribal. Then as we move into 2010, in Lunar Silver Star Harmony, he would provide the voice of Ramus Farmane. And also in 2010, in the anime Kanokon, he would provide the voice of Omi Kiriyama. Then also in 2010, in Kikaishi, he would provide the voice of Hiromu Tabata. Then in the Trinity Universe video game, he would provide the voice of Lucius. Then in Vampire Knight, he would provide the English voice of Hanabusa Aldo. And then here's one of his more well-known roles. He would, of course, provide the voice of Masaomi Kida in 2011 as in Dorara. Also in 2011, he would reprise his role of Hanabusa Aldo in Vampire Knight Guilty. Then, also in 2011, he would provide the voice of Federico Caruso in God Eater's Burst video game. And then in the R. Tornelico Quagga Nell of RCL video game, he would provide the voice of Aoto. He would then reprise his role as Zildane Tribal in Dissidia 012 Final Fantasy. Also in 2011, he was cast in the video game The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky as Agate Krosnar. He would reprise his role as Guan Ping in Dynasty Warriors 7 in 2011. He would then reprise his role as Omi Kiriyama in the Kanokan OVA. Then, also in 2011, he would provide the English voice of Jun Kurosu in Persona 2 Innocent Sin. Then, in 2011, he would be cast as the voice of Philippe in Secret Millionaires Club. Then, as we get into 2012, he would be cast as Edgar Frost in Blade, the Marvel anime Blade. Then he would be cast in the First Squad, the Moment of Truth animated movie as Valia. Then also in 2012, in the Tales of Graces video game, he would be cast as the voice of Asbel Lohant. Also in 2012, in the Atelier Maruru, the Apprentice of Arland video game, he would be cast as Yas Falcon. Then in Nura Raiza, the Yokai Clan in 2012, he was cast as Kappa and Ryoto Neko. Then also in 2012 in Blue Exorcist, he was cast as Rin Okumura, again another one of his well-known roles. And in the Fire Emblem Awakening video game in 2013, he was cast as the voice of Henry. And then in Atelier Ayesha, the Alchemist of Dusk video game, he was cast as the English voice of Ernie Littleton. Also in 2013, in Disney Princess Palace Pets video game, he was cast as Sultan. Then he would reprise his role as Rin Okumura in the Blue Exorcist OVA, as well as the Blue Exorcist short. Then in the Shin Megami Tensei 4 video game, he was cast as the English voice of Issachar. As we move along here, he would reprise his role as Guan Ping in Dynasty Warriors 8 video game. And then another one of his known roles from Sword Art Online, cast in 2013 as the English voice of Kirito, aka Kazuto Kirigawa. He would once again reprise his role as Rin Okumura in Blue Exorcist the movie. Also in 2013 in B-Daman Crossfire, he was cast as the English voices of Basara, Kurochi, and B-Shot B. Then in Tenkai Night, he's cast as the English voice of Chuki Mason, Leidendorf. Then he was also cast in Digimon Fusion as the English voices of Bearmon and Coronmon. And then he was cast in the Rune Factory 4 video game as Lest. He was cast as Inky in the Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures video game. Also in 2013, he was Red in Pokemon Origins. He was then cast as in East Memories of Celceta as the English voice of Adol Kristen. And also in 2013, he was cast in the Power Rangers Megaforce video game as Black Megaforce Ranger Jake Holing and No Joke. Then as we get into 2014, he was cast in Space Dandy as Ukulele Man. Also in 2014, in the Bravely Default video game, cast as Tiz Arior. Then he was Zebra number 1 in the Kumba movie, 2014. Also, he was cast as Makoto Nagai in the Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc video game. Also in 2014, in Naruto Shippuden, the movie 5 Blood Prison, he was cast as Muku, as a boy, the boy version of the character. He was then cast as Mark in Conception 2 Children of the Seven Stars video game. And then and also in 2014, he got another one of his more well-known roles, Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan. In the Mugen Soul Z video game, he was cast as Kokoro. In the Mind Zero video game, he was cast as Nobuhiko Watanabe. He was then cast as Stas Charlie Blood in Blood Lad, and then he would prize his role as Makoto Nagai, as well as take on the role, be cast in the role of Nagito Kominada in Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair video game. He would reprise his role as Chuki Mason Lightendor in Tenkai Knight's Brave Battle video game. He would reprise his role as Inky in the Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures 2 video game. Then in Power Rangers Super Mega Force video game, he had a number of roles, including Super Mega Force Green Jake Holling, Samurai Red Jaden Shiba, Time Force Red Wes Collins, Lightspeed Rescue Red Carter Grayson, Mighty Morphin Red Rocky DeSantis, and Scatania. Then in Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth video game was cast as Theodore. He would then reprise his role as Kirito in the Sword Art Online Extra Edition anime. He was then cast as the voice of Rikuto Ikeda in Assassination Classroom. He would reprise his role as Masaomi Kita in Dorara X2 in 2015. So we're now getting into 15. He was then also cast as Makina Kunagiri in Final Fantasy Type 0 video game. He would reprise his role as Kirito in Sword Art Online 2. And then in Mobile Suit Gundam, the Origin, he was cast as the English voices of Rio Jose and Marco Clan. And then in A Lull in the Sea, he would be cast as the English voice of Kanami Isaki. And then in Blaze Blue Ultra Memory, he was cast as the voice of Taka Magahara. In Soul Eater Not, he was cast as the voice of Clay Sizemore. In Aldanoa Zero, he's cast as the English voice of the Calm Craftman. Then in Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, he was cast as the voice of Shiro Emiya. Then in Danganronpa, another episode, Ultra Despair Girls video game, he would reprise his roles as Makoto Nagai and Nagito Kominada. And in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, he was cast as the English voice of Cesar Antonio Zappelli. In Be Cool Scooby-Doo, he was cast as the voice of Line Cook. Then in The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky second chapter video game, he was cast as Agate Crossner. In Seven Deadly Sins, he was cast as the English voices of Meliodas and Lovehelm. He would then reprise his role as Makoto Nagai in Danganronpa the animation, as well as reprising his role as Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan Junior High. He would then be cast as the voice of Adrian in Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. And then in the Xenoblade Chronicles 10 video game, he was cast as the male avatar. In the Elseworld video game, he was cast as the voice of Ad. In Princess Stride Alternative in 2016, he was cast as the English voice of Yuri Himemiya. Man, he's got a lot of credits here. Let's see, in Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 video game, he's cast as Yoruri. And then in Lord Marksman and Vanatus, he was cast as Olivier. Then he would reprise his role as Shiro Emiya in the Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works Sunny Day short. Then in Brothers Conflict, he was cast as Wataru Asahina. Oh, that's an interesting role right there. Not sure. Now, I've never seen Brothers Conflict, but almost looks like Wataru's a girl, actually. That's interesting. In the anime Cyborg 009 vs. Devilman, he was cast as the English voice of Akira Fudo Devilman. In Ajin Demi-Human, he was cast as the English voice of Kaito. And he would reprise his role as Tiz Arior in Bravely Second and Layer video game. In My Hero Academia, he was cast as the English voice of Yoshindo. In Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, he would be cast as the English voice of Eugene Sevenstark. We're into 2016 now. In One Punch Man, he was cast as the English voice of Marugori. He was then cast as the English voice of Sori in Tales of Zestria, the 10th or X. Also in Mobius Final Fantasy video game, he was cast as the voice of Wool. He would reprise his role as Makoto Nagai in Danganronpa 3, The End of Hope's Peak High School, Futures arc. And then in the Despair arc, he would reprise his role of Makoto Nagai and Nagito Kominada. In Charlotte, he was cast as the English voice of Sho. In Pokemon Generations, he was cast as the English voice of Buck. In Exist Archive, The Other Side of the Sky, he was cast as Kanata Kujo video game. And then in the Hope arc of Danganronpa 3, The End of Hope's Peak High School, he would once again reprise his roles as Makoto Nagai and Nagito Kominada. He was then cast English voice as Yuji Yamamoto in Castletown Dandelion. In Kuro Mukuro, he was cast as the English voice of Kenosuke Tokusada Oma. Then as we get into 2017, in the Fire Emblem Heroes video game, he cast as the English voices of Raven, Karel, Oscar, and Henry. He would then reprise his role as Meliodas in Seven Deadly Sins, Signs of Holy War. In Gantz O, in the Gantz O movie, he was cast as Suzumu Kimura. In the Horizon Zero Dawn video game, he was cast as Bast. He would reprise his role as Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan Part 1 Crimson Bow and Arrow, the movie. He would reprise his role as Yurui in Boruto Naruto, the movie. He would also reprise his role as Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan Part 2 Wings of Freedom movie. In the Persona 5 video game, he would be cast as the English voice of Mr. Hiruta. He would then reprise his role as Kirito in Sword Art Online, the movie Ordinal Scale. And then he would also provide in Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valentina video game, provide the voices of Kamui and Conrad Young, the young Conrad rather. In Blame movie, he was cast as Fusata. In Doki Doki Precure, he was cast as the English voices of Lance and Nicholas. He would then reprise his role as Rin Okumura in Blue Exorcist Kyoto Saga. He would then reprise his role as Adol Kristen in Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana. He would then reprise his role as Makoto Nagai and Nagito Kominada in Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony video game. And then in Summon Night 6 Lost Borders, he was cast as the voice of Kana. In Skip Beat, he would be cast as the English voice of Yusei Ishibara. And then as we get into 2018, he was cast as the English voice of Moyuru Koda in Devilman Crybaby. He would then reprise his role as Zildane Tribal in Dissidia Final Fantasy NT video game. In Bungo Stray Dogs, he was cast as the English voice of Karma. In Children of the Whale, he was cast as the English voice of Suo. He would reprise the role of Shiro Emiya in Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel 1 Presage Flower. In Treehouse Detectives, he was cast as Erwin and Dwayne. In Attack on Titan, Roar of the Awakening, he reprised his role as Eren Yeager. In Saint Seiya, The Lost Canvas, he would be cast as Kate Sith Cheshire. Then in Sword Art Online Alternative Gun Gale Online, he would be cast as the voice of Tum Tum. He would then reprise the role as Theodore in Persona 3 Dancing in Moonlight. In God Eater 3, starting in 2019 in God Eater 3, he would be cast as the male player. He would then, of course, reprise his role as Kirito in Sword Art Online Alicization. They just finished a third tour arc, War in the Underworld. Then in Yoo-Hoo to the Rescue, he would be cast as Lemmy. Then in Ultraman, he was cast as the Commentator, Driver, Onlooker 2, and Saeki. Then in Team Sonic Racing video game, he was cast as Silver the Hedgehog. In Kegen Ashura, he was cast as English voices of Cosmo Imai and Keiza Boro Sawada. In Pokemon Masters, he was cast as the English voice of Lear in the video game Pokemon Masters. In the Daimon X Machina video game, he was cast as Diablo. Then another role he's currently doing on Toonami right now, he's Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. He was cast as the English voice of Inosuke Hashibira. Of course, the guy who wears the boar mask. He would reprise his role as Silver the Hedgehog in the video game Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. Then he would reprise his role as Shiro Emiya in Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel 2 Lost Butterfly. He would reprise his role as Lest in Rune Factory 4 special video game. And to finish it out in 2020 here, actually we'd already gotten into Rune Factory 4, he was cast in Beasters as the English voices of Tao in Kibi, and in War of Visions, Final Fantasy Brave EVS video game, he would be cast as the English voice Montleonis. Okay, so with all that being said, those are the credits of Bryce Papenbrook. I would hope that through all this, you become more of a fan. If you haven't had a chance to check out any of his work, I would hope that you would check out more of his work. If you're a fan of his, I would hope that this would expand your fan, on stuff to follow, to watch more of his, work. Especially in this time when we're kind of, um, we're practicing self isolating, social distancing. You know, so yeah, I hope. Oh, one more interesting little tidbit too. One of the things I hadn't mentioned. Of course, Bryce Papenbrook is also the one who set up Unlock, the streaming service for many of the voice actors and actresses use to connect with their fans. So, might want to check that out as well. And with all that, guys can check the links below. If you want to, contact me directly, you can contact me directly through my Discord. DM me through my Discord. You can check out my Discord and join if you'd like. Also, still promoting a bunch of different dub companies because Funimation is not the only game in town. Um, Also, I'm still promoting the GoFundMe's. As always, you guys never feel like you have to donate. If it's on your heart, if you have the means to and it's on your heart to do so, please consider donating. If you have not donated, or I'm sorry, if you've already donated, please consider donating again. And if you cannot donate, you can still help out the cause by sharing the link because sharing is caring. You never know. Maybe somebody in your circle of friends may want to help out. And if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I always look forward to conversation with you guys as long as it's civil and respectful. I hope to catch you guys at the premiere of this episode on Friday. If not, then I'll see you on Monday. Bye.